Sunlight dappled through emerald canopies as 10-year-old Lily, adorned in her handmade pirate hat and wooden sword, pushed deeper into the uncharted jungle. Most children played make-believe, but Lily lived. Her grandfather's tales of lost civilizations had brought her here, where vines twisted like serpents around crumbling stone figures. The ancient temple emerged like a dream, half swallowed by earth, its entrance beckoning with mysterious symbols. Inside, golden eyes reflected torchlight, not menacing but curious. A dog, lean and alert, stood guard over fallen grandeur, its collar bearing a medallion unlike anything Lily had seen. When their eyes met, something passed between them, a recognition, a promise. The coastal village of Porto Azul clung to the edge of the world, where salty air mingled with jungle mist. Lily Westbrook was known among the locals as that peculiar child, always with her nose in a worn leather journal, pockets filled with curious stones and questions that made adults shift uncomfortably. "Grandpa, tell me again about the Temple of the Four Winds," Lily requested, sitting cross-legged on the weathered porch of her grandfather's cottage that overlooked the harbor. Old Captain James Westbrook, not a captain of any official vessel but of countless expeditions into the unknown, smiled, the creases around his eyes deepening like riverbeds. His hands, spotted with age and marked by decades of adventure, carefully opened the journal that never left his side. "The ancients believed it was where heaven touched earth," he said, his voice carrying the weight of wisdom earned through years of searching. "They built it to honor the guardians who protected their most precious treasure." Lily traced her fingers over his meticulous sketches, crumbling archways, adorned with symbols no modern scholar had fully translated, courtyard layouts mapped with careful precision, notes scribbled in margins connecting disparate clues. "Why did no one ever find it?" she asked, as she had dozens of times before. "Because they looked with their eyes, not their hearts," he answered, tapping gently on her chest. "The greatest treasures are never just gold and jewels, Lily." In the village, Lily was tolerated with the kind of bemused patience reserved for dreamers. While other children played normal games by the shore, she constructed elaborate maps, studied the stars, and practiced tying knots that would hold against mythical temple traps. "That child lives with her head in the clouds," Mrs. Halverston muttered in the market as Lily examined a compass with critical expertise. "Like her grandfather before her," added Mr. Finch, the shopkeeper whose family had supplied explorers for generations. James never did find what he was looking for, but what they didn't understand was that for Lily, the searching itself was the treasure. Each morning, she would stand at her window, watching the jungle-covered mountains with unwavering certainty that something extraordinary waited there. Her mother worried, "Lily, perhaps you might take interest in something more practical." Her father understood better. A quiet man who built boats with hands that could both craft delicate figureheads and haul heavy timber, he recognized the call of adventure. "Some people are born with horizons in their eyes," he told his wife. "You can't change that." On her 10th birthday, Grandpa James gifted Lily his compass, brass and aged, with a slight imperfection that made the needle quiver before settling on true north. "It doesn't always point the straightest way," he told her, "but it always finds the right one." 2 weeks later, he was gone, peaceful in his sleep, his journal open beside him, as though he'd just paused in the middle of an important thought. The village expected Lily's adventurous spirit to dim with grief. Instead, it burned brighter. She spent hours poring over his journal, connecting fragments he'd collected over decades. The Temple of the Four Winds wasn't just a story, it was real, and her grandfather had been closer to finding it than anyone knew. One particular page held her attention, a partial map showing a river bend, a peculiar rock formation, and calculations about the sun's position during summer solstice. In the margin, in writing that suggested excitement, "The guardian awaits. Remember the riddle." What guardian? What riddle? The journal offered no clear answers, only more mysteries. 3 months after her grandfather's passing, on a misty morning, when the jungle seemed to breathe invitation, Lily made her decision. With the journal tucked safely in her knapsack, alongside provisions, her wooden sword and the brass compass, she slipped away from the village. "I'll finish your quest, Grandpa," she whispered, facing the green expanse that had called to generations of her family. The path started clearly enough, following the river just as his notes suggested. When it disappeared into untamed wilderness, she consulted the journal's careful observations about bark patterns and stone arrangements that only an explorer's eye would note. By midday, she stood before the unusual rock formation, exactly as drawn in the journal. And beyond it, where the trees parted like curtains on a stage, the first weathered steps of what could only be an ancient structure emerged from the earth. Lily's heart thundered in her chest, not with fear, but with the certainty that she stood on the threshold of something magnificent. Lily stood transfixed before the temple entrance, where massive stone guardians, half-animal, half-human figures, flanked a doorway almost completely reclaimed by nature. Vines crawled across intricate carvings, like fingers trying to pull the structure back into the earth. Above the entrance, a weathered emblem depicted 4 swirling winds converging around what appeared to be an animal figure. "The Temple of the 4 Winds," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the jungle sounds. Her grandfather's journal had described this moment, but words couldn't capture the presence of such ancient grandeur. Taking a deep breath, Lily adjusted her pirate hat and gripped her wooden sword tighter. "Explorers don't hesitate," she reminded herself, reciting one of Grandpa James's favorite sayings. The first step across the threshold felt momentous. The air inside was noticeably cooler, carrying scents of stone, earth, and something else, something old and indefinable. Shafts of light pierced through cracks in the ceiling, illuminating dancing dust motes and creating natural spotlights on the worn stone floor. "Hello?" Lily called, her voice echoing down corridors that hadn't heard human sounds in generations. The question hung unanswered, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The main chamber opened before her like the inside of a forgotten cathedral. Pillars, carved to resemble twisted vines, supported a ceiling adorned with constellations unknown to modern astronomy. On the walls, faded paintings depicted figures bowing before animals that walked upright like humans, offering what appeared to be seeds or small plants. A sudden scuffing sound froze Lily mid-step. Her wooden sword raised instinctively, though she knew it offered no real protection. Her heart drummed against her ribs as the sound came again, a deliberate movement in the shadows beyond the light. 2 golden eyes reflected the dim light, watching her with unmistakable intelligence. "I'm not afraid," Lily announced, though her trembling voice betrayed her. "I've come to learn, not to take." The eyes blinked once, then moved forward into a shaft of light. It was a dog, lean and strong, with a coat the color of sun-baked earth and markings around its eyes that resembled a mask. Around its neck hung a medallion that caught the light, momentarily dazzling Lily with its brilliance. Neither moved for several heartbeats. The dog's posture wasn't threatening, but watchful and wary. Lily slowly lowered her wooden sword, instinctively understanding that showing peace was important. "Hello there," she said softly. "Do you live here all alone?" The dog tilted its head, ears perked forward with curiosity. There was something in its gaze that seemed almost human, an assessment, a judgment being made. Lily carefully knelt, making herself smaller. "I won't hurt you, or this place. My grandfather spent his whole life looking for this temple." At the movement of kneeling, the dog tensed momentarily, then relaxed. With deliberate slowness it approached, stopping just beyond arm's reach. The medallion hanging from its collar was now clearly visible, an intricate disc of metal, unlike any Lily had seen, inscribed with symbols matching those on the temple walls. "That's beautiful," she murmured, pointing to the medallion. "Is it yours, or does it belong to the temple?" As if understanding her question, the dog looked down at the medallion, then back at Lily. With careful movements it came closer, close enough that she could feel its warm breath on her hand. Lily remained perfectly still as the dog sniffed her fingers, wrist, then the wooden sword beside her. After a moment of consideration, the dog gently pressed its nose against her palm, a gesture of acceptance that made Lily's heart soar with unexpected joy. "Thank you," she whispered, sensing the significance of this moment. Standing slowly, Lily took her first real look around the chamber. Near the back wall, something caught her attention. A small altar with a depression that seemed exactly the size of the medallion the dog wore. The dog followed her gaze and took several steps toward the altar, then looked back at her expectantly. "You want to show me something?" Lily asked. In response, the dog walked to the altar and placed its paw beside the depression, then looked at Lily again. The intelligence in that gaze couldn't be mistaken. When Lily approached, the medallion around the dog's neck began to emit a soft, pulsing light. The symbols on the walls around them responded, glowing with the same gentle rhythm, as if the temple itself were awakening. "This is..." Lily struggled to find words. "Grandpa would say this is where the real adventure begins." The dog's tail wagged once, a gesture so ordinary it made Lily laugh despite the extraordinary circumstances. Whatever secrets this temple held, she wouldn't be discovering them alone. Morning light streamed through the temple's fractured ceiling as Lily awoke, momentarily disoriented. She had intended to return home before nightfall, but exploration had led to discovery, and discovery to wonder, until darkness made the jungle path too treacherous to navigate. The dog lay curled nearby, ears twitching at her movements. In daylight, she could better appreciate its unusual appearance. The coat was not simply brown, but patterned with intricate markings that seemed almost deliberate, like living hieroglyphics. "You need a name," Lily decided, stretching stiff limbs. "I can't just call you Dog, if we're going to be friends." The animal regarded her with those intelligent eyes that seemed to understand far more than any dog should. "Guardian," she declared. "That's what you are, aren't you? The guardian of this place." At the word, the dog's ears pricked forward, and it rose to its feet with newfound energy. The medallion at its neck caught the light, symbols briefly illuminating. "Guardian, it is then." Lily smiled, reaching into her pack for the last apple she'd brought. She polished it on her shirt and offered half to her new companion. Guardian accepted the offering with gentle care, then turned toward the deeper chambers, looking back at Lily with clear invitation. "You want to show me more?" Lily asked, gathering her belongings. "Lead on, Guardian." They ventured deeper into the temple's heart, where daylight couldn't reach. Lily produced a small lantern from her pack, another gift from her practical father, its gentle glow revealing corridors untouched by human footsteps for generations. Guardian moved with purpose, occasionally stopping to ensure Lily followed. They passed chambers filled with deteriorated furnishings, walls adorned with faded murals showing rituals and celebrations centered around animals. "Were your ancestors worshipped here?" Lily wondered aloud. "Grandpa's journal mentioned animal guardians, but I thought it was just a myth." In a circular chamber with a domed ceiling, Guardian stopped. The floor featured a mosaic of the night sky, with unfamiliar constellations arranged around a central stone dais. Guardian approached the dais and pawed at a specific section, whining softly. Lily examined the spot, finding a barely perceptible seam in the stonework. "Is something hidden here?" With careful fingers, she traced the outline, feeling a slight give in one corner. Years of watching her father's woodworking had taught her to recognize concealed compartments. Applying gentle pressure in the right place, she felt a satisfying click. A small drawer slid open, revealing a stone tablet about the size of her hand. Its surface was etched with what appeared to be a partial map, showing landmarks she didn't recognize beneath unfamiliar stars. "Is this what you wanted me to find?" she asked, carefully lifting the tablet. Guardian's tail wagged once, confirmation enough. As Lily held the tablet up to her lantern light, she noticed something peculiar. Certain symbols on the tablet matched those on Guardian's medallion. "These match your medallion," she observed. "And look, She pointed to a particular constellation etched on the tablet. That's on the ceiling too. Guardian nudged Lily's hand, guiding the tablet toward the medallion hanging from its collar. When the two objects neared each other, the medallion emitted a soft glow, and corresponding symbols on the tablet illuminated in response. They're connected somehow, Lily breathed. Excitement building. This is just the beginning, isn't it? Guardian's intelligent eyes held secrets still, but there was also a new warmth there, trust beginning to form. As afternoon shadows lengthened, Lily reluctantly repacked her belongings. I have to go home now, or my parents will worry, she explained to Guardian, who watched her preparations with evident disappointment. At the temple entrance, she knelt to eye level with her new friend. I promise I'll come back tomorrow, and I'll bring proper food for both of us. Guardian tilted its head, then gently pressed its nose to Lily's cheek. A gesture so tender it made her eyes sting with unexpected tears. Will you be okay here alone? She asked. In answer, Guardian trotted back inside the temple, then returned moments later with something clutched gently in its mouth, a small flower that somehow grew in the darkness within. The dog placed it carefully in Lily's hand. A gift, Lily smiled, tucking the flower into her grandfather's journal. Thank you. I'll keep it safe. With one last look at the temple that housed so many unanswered questions, Lily began the journey home, the stone tablet carefully wrapped and hidden in her pack, her mind already planning tomorrow's return. The Temple of the Four Winds, she whispered to herself. Grandpa, I wish you could see this, but I promise I'll discover its secrets for both of us. The village of Porto Azul stirred with morning activity as Lily slipped through familiar streets, her mind still wandering the temple corridors. She'd managed to return home after nightfall, fabricating a story about losing track of time while exploring the tidal pools, a half-truth her parents accepted with familiar resignation. There she is, our little adventurer, called Mr. Finch from his shop doorway, interrupting her thoughts. The elderly shopkeeper's eyes twinkled with good-natured teasing. Find any buried treasure yesterday? Lily's hand instinctively touched her pack where the stone tablet lay hidden. Not exactly, she answered carefully. Mr. Finch beckoned her closer, lowering his voice conspiratorially. Your grandfather used to get that same look, like you've seen something the rest of us haven't. The shop smelled of spices, leather, and the peculiar combination of items that explorers might need: compass parts, waterproof matches, dried provisions. It had supplied generations of Porto Azul's more adventurous souls, including Grandpa James. I need a few things, Lily said, counting the modest allowance saved in her pocket. Some jerky, a sturdier water flask, and maybe a small trowel. Mr. Finch's bushy eyebrows rose slightly. Planning quite the expedition, aren't we? As he gathered her requests, Lily's attention wandered to a dusty bulletin board where local notices were pinned. Among faded advertisements and fishing announcements, a yellowed newspaper clipping caught her eye, its headline partially visible: Expedition vanishes. Temple curse claims. Mr. Finch, she called, pointing to the clipping. What's that old article about? The shopkeeper's demeanor shifted subtly. Just old news, child. Nothing worth reading. His dismissal only piqued her curiosity. While he wrapped her purchases, Lily casually moved closer to the bulletin board, squinting to read the faded text. Expedition vanishes. Temple curse claims fourth search party. Professor Walter Reed and team of 5 missing for 3 months, in search of the legendary Temple of Four Winds. Rumors of ancient treasure valued at modern equivalent of $3 million. Previous expeditions suffered mysterious accidents. Locals warn of guardian spirits protecting sacred grounds. The date on the clipping: 50 years ago. Your purchases, Miss Lily, Miss Finch interrupted, holding out her parcel with unusual haste. The article mentions the Temple of Four Winds, Lily said, accepting the package. The same one Grandpa used to talk about. Mr. Finch sighed, resignation crossing his weathered features. Your grandfather wasn't the first to chase that particular rainbow. That temple has been an obsession for too many good people. You don't believe it exists? Whether it exists isn't the question, the old shopkeeper replied, his voice lowering. It's whether it should be found. Some things are hidden for good reason. Lily left the shop with more questions than she'd entered with. Her path took her past the village library, a generous name for what was essentially a single room of books collected over generations. Miss Weatherby, the elderly librarian, sat knitting in a patch of sunlight. "Good morning, Lily," she called. "Not out exploring today?" "Actually, I'm doing research," Lily replied. "An idea forming. Do you have any information about Professor Walter Reed, or expeditions looking for the Temple of Four Winds?" Mrs. Weatherby's knitting needles stilled. "Now there's a name I haven't heard in decades." She studied Lily thoughtfully. "Your grandfather asked the same questions once." From a locked cabinet, Mrs. Weatherby retrieved a thin folder. "Local history," she explained, "not officially part of our collection." Inside, Lily found newspaper clippings, similar to the one in Mr. Finch's shop, but also handwritten accounts and a few photographs of serious-looking men posing with expedition gear. One photo showed a younger Walter Reed standing beside an even younger James Westbrook, her grandfather. "They were colleagues?" Lily gasped. "Rivals, more like," Mrs. Weatherby corrected. "Both brilliant, both stubborn. Reed was obsessed with finding the temple's treasure. Your grandfather was more interested in its history." Lily carefully examined a notation on one of the photographs. "Possible temple entrance identified. Reed insists we focus on treasure chamber." "What happened to Professor Reed?" Lily asked. Mrs. Weatherby's voice softened. "His expedition never returned. Your grandfather was supposed to join them but fell ill just before departure. He spent years afterward trying to discover what happened, but never went back into that part of the jungle." As Lily left the library, the weight of this new knowledge competed with the stone tablet in her pack. Her grandfather had never mentioned his connection to Reed, or how close he'd come to sharing the expedition's fate. Returning home, she carefully transferred her supplies to a larger backpack, adding the jerky and new water flask. The stone tablet she wrapped in soft cloth, placing it alongside her grandfather's journal. Tomorrow she would return to Guardian, and the temple with new understanding of what she might be facing, and why her grandfather had never completed his quest. Dawn had barely touched the treetops when Lily slipped away from the village, her packed supplies weighing heavily against her shoulders. The jungle seemed different today, less mysterious, more purposeful, as though it recognized her return and made space for her passage. Each step through the dense undergrowth brought her closer to Guardian and the secrets they'd begun to uncover. The previous day's discoveries had filled her dreams with stone pathways and glowing symbols, with Guardian always leading the way towards something just beyond her reach. "I wonder if you're waiting for me," she murmured to the absent dog as she navigated a particularly steep section of the trail. By midday, the temple's weathered entrance emerged from the greenery. Lily paused, catching her breath, then called out, "Guardian, I'm back, just like I promised." Silence greeted her words. For a terrible moment she feared Guardian had vanished, that perhaps the remarkable dog had been nothing more than an elaborate product of her imagination. "Guardian?" she tried again, her voice smaller. A rustling from inside the temple preceded the appearance of Guardian, who bounded toward her with such obvious joy that Lily found herself laughing. The dog circled her once, twice, sniffing her new pack with interest, tail wagging in approval of her return. "I told you I'd come back," Lily said, kneeling to ruffle the dog's ears. "And look, I brought jerky for both of us." She produced a strip, which Guardian accepted with dignified gentleness. After their impromptu reunion meal, Guardian led Lily back into the temple with purposeful strides. They bypassed the chambers they'd explored previously, continuing deeper into areas Lily hadn't yet seen. "Where are we going?" she asked, though she didn't expect an answer. They entered a corridor where the floor stones bore intricate spiral patterns. Guardian stopped at what appeared to be a solid wall, pawing at a particular section near the floor. Lily knelt to examine it, finding nothing obvious. "Is something supposed to be here?" she asked. Guardian whined softly, nosing at Lily's pack where the stone tablet was stored. Understanding dawned as she removed the wrapped tablet. "This connects somehow?" she asked, unwrapping the stone. When she held the tablet near the wall, nothing happened. Frowning, Lily considered what might be missing. The medallion, she realized looking at Guardian's neck. They worked together before. Guardian stood perfectly still as Lily gently lifted the medallion hanging from the collar. As both objects approached the wall, a faint humming filled the air. Symbols on both the tablet and medallion began to glow with soft blue light. A seam appeared in the previously solid wall, revealing a narrow crevice. Guardian nudged Lily's hand toward the opening. "You want me to reach in there?" she asked skeptically. "What if there's something dangerous?" Guardian's steady gaze conveyed complete confidence. "All right," Lily sighed. "I trust you." Carefully, she slid her hand into the crevice, fingers probing until they touched something cool and metallic. With delicate movements, she extracted a bronze key unlike any she'd seen before. Its handle formed in the shape of a dog, remarkably similar to Guardian. "It's beautiful," she breathed, examining the craftsmanship. "And look, it matches you." The key felt substantial in her palm, carrying the weight of obvious importance. Guardian nudged her elbow, directing her attention to a previously unnoticed keyhole in the center of the spiral floor pattern. "This just gets more interesting," Lily remarked, kneeling beside the keyhole. "Should I?" Guardian's single tail wag was all the confirmation she needed. When the key slid into place, it turned with surprising ease. A mechanical clicking sound rippled outward as the spiral floor pattern began to rotate, stones shifting against one another until a circular section descended, revealing a staircase spiraling into darkness below. Cool air wafted upward, carrying scents of earth and age. "Downward we go, I suppose," Lily said, retrieving her lantern from her pack. Before descending, she noticed inscriptions surrounding the stairwell entrance. Though she couldn't read the ancient language, the accompanying pictographs depicted warnings, stylized human figures fleeing from danger, others trapped or falling. "Not the most welcoming invitation," she muttered, glancing at Guardian. "Is it safe down there?" The dog descended 3 steps, then looked back expectantly. "I'll take that as a yes," Lily said, patting her wooden sword for reassurance. "Though I'm starting to think this might not be enough protection if things get serious." Staircase spiraled deeper than expected, opening finally into a vast underground chamber where phosphorescent fungi provided ghostly illumination. Stone columns carved to resemble ancient trees supported a ceiling adorned with more constellations, while shallow channels in the floor suggested water once flowed through in deliberate patterns. "It's like another world down here," Lily whispered, her voice echoing despite her attempt at quietness. Guardian moved ahead confidently, navigating the chamber as though familiar with every stone. Something had changed in the dog's demeanor, a heightened alertness, a more pronounced purpose. "You've been waiting for someone to find this place again, haven't you?" Lily asked softly. "Someone to help you with whatever task you've been guarding." Guardian's intelligent eyes met hers, and in that moment, Lily felt the full weight of responsibility settling on her young shoulders. Whatever secrets lay deeper within the temple, she was now irrevocably part of their unfolding. The underground chamber branched into 3 distinct corridors, each marked with different animal symbols above their entrances, a monkey, a serpent, and a bird. Guardian led Lily toward the monkey passage without hesitation. "Have you been down here many times before?" Lily asked, her lantern casting dancing shadows across weathered stone walls. The dog's confident movements suggested intimate familiarity with these forgotten paths. The corridor narrowed as they progressed, ceiling lowering until Lily had to stoop slightly. Guardian stopped abruptly, turning to block her path. Confused, Lily halted mid-step. "What's wrong?" Guardian looked pointedly at the floor ahead. In the lantern light, Lily noticed subtle differences in the stonework. Certain tiles appeared marginally newer than their neighbors. "A trap?" she whispered, immediately understanding Guardian's warning. Kneeling for a closer look, she observed thin seams around suspicious tiles. Grandpa's journal had mentioned ancient temple builders often protected sacred areas with mechanical traps. Pressure plates that triggered darts, collapsing floors, or worse. How do we get past? She wondered aloud. Guardian moved to the wall, placing a paw against a seemingly ordinary stone. When nothing happened, the dog looked expectantly at Lily. You want me to press it? Interpreting Guardian's continued stare as confirmation, Lily pushed against the stone. It gave way slightly, accompanied by a faint clicking sound from beneath the floor. Did that disable something? Guardian proceeded forward, carefully placing each paw on specific tiles. Lily followed exactly in the dog's footsteps, heart pounding with each step across what she now recognized as a complex pressure plate system. You're quite the guide, she told Guardian once they reached safe ground. I'd have been skewered or squashed without you. The passage eventually opened into a circular chamber dominated by a large stone basin in its center. The basin, carved from a single massive piece of white marble, stood empty, its surface etched with intricate patterns that spiraled inward. Guardian approached a small channel in the floor that led to the basin and poured at it, insistently. Water, Lily guessed, noticing similar channels leading from other entrances. This channel is dry. Does it need water? She removed her water flask, hesitating briefly before pouring some into the channel. The water flowed toward the basin, seemingly absorbed by the thirsty stone along the way, never reaching its destination. Not enough, Lily realized, looking around for a water source. In one corner she spotted a stone spout protruding from the wall, positioned above another channel. Beneath it sat a lever mechanism, green with age. Worth trying, she decided, struggling briefly with the ancient lever, before it gave way with a grinding protest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a gurgling sound preceded a steady stream of clear water flowing from the spout into the channel. It still works, Lily exclaimed, watching the water wind its way toward the basin. But how? After all this time, Guardian offered no explanation, instead watching intently as the basin slowly filled. As water covered the etched patterns, something remarkable happened. The patterns began to glow with soft blue luminescence, the same color as the symbols on the medallion and tablet. When the basin was washed full, the water's surface shimmered strangely. Lily approached cautiously, peering into the glowing liquid. Rather than reflecting her face, the water displayed an aerial view of the temple complex. Not as it currently existed, reclaimed by jungle, but as it once had been in its full glory. It's a map, she breathed in amazement. The watery map showed the temple's complete layout, surface structures, underground chambers, and 3 distinct locations marked with the same animal symbols they'd seen earlier. Monkey, serpent, and bird. Guardian placed a paw at the basin's edge, causing ripples that made the map shift. The view zoomed closer to the monkey symbol, revealing detailed pathways and what appeared to be a chamber beyond. Is that where we need to go next? Lily asked. To find the monkey guardian. Guardian's tail wagged once in confirmation. Lily quickly sketched the map in her grandfather's journal, noting the positions of all 3 animal guardians and their relation to a central chamber marked with a symbol she didn't recognize. These must be important, she said, pointing to the animal locations, like keys, guardians that protect something in this central place. As she finished her sketch, the water in the basin began to drain, the glowing map fading with it. Guardian was already moving toward one of the other passages, clearly expecting Lily to follow. This corridor was wider but presented new challenges, sections where floor stones had collapsed into unseen depths below, requiring careful jumps from one safe spot to another. In one particularly treacherous stretch, Lily nearly lost her balance, saved only by Guardian's quick movement to steady her. Thanks, she gasped, heart racing. I don't think I'd want to find out how deep that goes. They pressed onward, the temple growing more complex with each chamber they traversed. In one room, Wall carvings depicted people and animals working together to build the temple. Another showed elaborate ceremonies where humans presented offerings to animal guardians. This wasn't just a temple, Lily realized, studying the carvings. It was a sanctuary where humans and animals lived together as equals. Guardian sat beside her, seemingly pleased by her understanding. "That's why you're here, isn't it?" she asked, scratching behind the dog's ear. "You're not just guarding treasure, you're protecting this history, this partnership between your ancestors and mine." Their moment of connection was interrupted by a distant sound, stone grinding against stone from deeper within the temple. Guardian's ears perked up, body tensing. "What is it?" Lily whispered, suddenly alert. "Is someone else here?" The dog's serious expression confirmed her suspicion. They were not alone in the temple. Guardian's posture relaxed slightly after several tense moments, indicating whatever had caused the sound wasn't an immediate threat. Still, the dog maintained a heightened alertness as they continued toward the chamber marked with the monkey symbol. The path grew increasingly wild, with roots breaking through stone and small creatures scurrying away at their approach. In places, the ceiling had partially collapsed, forcing them to navigate around fallen debris or squeeze through narrow gaps. "Not exactly a royal welcome," Lily muttered as she ducked beneath a low-hanging root. A shrill cry echoed through the corridor, freezing Lily mid-step. What was that? Guardian's ears perked forward, but the dog showed no alarm. Rounding a corner, they discovered the source, a small monkey perched on a broken column, regarding them with evident curiosity. Unlike the jungle monkeys Lily occasionally spotted near the village, this one had unusual markings around its eyes and a distinctive silver patch on its chest. "Hello there," Lily called softly. The monkey chittered in response, leaping gracefully to a closer perch. Guardian and the monkey exchanged what Lily could only describe as knowing looks, something unspoken passing between the animals. After this silent communication, the monkey turned and bounded deeper into the temple, stopping to ensure they followed. "Another guide?" Lily asked Guardian, who responded with a single tail wag. They followed their new companion through increasingly ornate passages. Wall carvings here depicted monkeys teaching humans to find medicinal plants, harvest fruits from tall trees, and navigate dense forests. The temple honors animal wisdom, Lily realized. Each animal shared different knowledge with humans. The monkey led them to a vast chamber where massive tree roots had broken through the ceiling, creating a natural atrium open to fragments of sky. Sunlight filtered down, illuminating a stone platform in the center. Atop the platform stood a weathered statue of a seated monkey, its detailed craftsmanship still evident, despite centuries of erosion. The living monkey bounded to the statue, settling at its base with an expectant expression. "This must be the first guardian," Lily said. Approaching the platform, circling the statue, she noted something peculiar, a series of stone discs embedded in the platform, each carved with different symbols, fruits, leaves, insects, and other natural elements. One disc featured a carving of the medallion Guardian wore. "It's a puzzle," she determined, examining how the discs could rotate within their settings. Guardian nudged a small, worn plaque at the statue's base. Though the ancient language was unfamiliar, an accompanying pictograph suggested a sequence, monkey selecting specific foods in a particular order. The monkey's preferences, Lily mused. We need to arrange the discs to show what the monkey guardian favors most to least. She studied the carvings in the chamber for clues, noting repeated patterns in the monkey depictions. They're always reaching for fruit first, then nuts, then insects. Guided by these observations, Lily began rotating the disc. When she reached for the medallion disc, uncertain of its place in the sequence, the living monkey chittered disapprovingly. "Not yet?" Lily guessed. "It goes last?" The monkey's excited bouncing suggested she was correct. With careful deliberation, Lily arranged the discs: fruits, nuts, insects, water, leaves, and finally, the medallion symbol. As she rotated the last disc into position, a deep rumbling vibrated through the chamber. The stone monkey statue began to rotate, eyes glowing with the now familiar blue light. Its outstretched hand opened, revealing a small depression perfectly sized for Guardian's medallion. Guardian approached, allowing Lily to carefully remove the medallion from the collar. When she placed it in the statue's palm, the light intensified, spreading throughout the chamber in pulsing waves. The statue's mouth opened, revealing a small compartment containing a stone orb with monkey carvings. "Another key," Lily whispered, reaching for it. As her fingers touched the orb, the temple shuddered violently. Dust and small stones rained from the ceiling as larger roots groaned under sudden strain. "Time to go," Lily exclaimed, grabbing the orb and replacing the medallion on Guardian's collar in one fluid motion. The living monkey screeched in alarm, leaping toward one of the passages. Guardian nudged Lily urgently in the same direction, away from the increasingly unstable chamber. They fled as larger chunks of ceiling crashed down behind them, the temple seemingly reacting to the removal of the orb. The monkey guided them through shortcuts. Lily wouldn't have noticed, Guardian bringing up the rear as though ensuring nothing pursued them. "Is the temple collapsing?" Lily called between gasps for breath. Their frantic escape route eventually led them back to the water basin chamber, which remained remarkably stable compared to the monkey Guardian's chamber. The tremors subsided as they reached this apparent safe zone. Breathing hard, Lily examined the orb in her hands. Unlike the crude wooden ball she'd imagined, it was a marvel of craftsmanship, perfectly spherical, covered in intricate carvings that shifted subtly under her fingers. "Worth the excitement, I suppose," she said, showing it to Guardian. "One down, two to go." The monkey, who had accompanied their escape, chattered from a safe perch, seemingly uninterested in reclaiming the orb. "Thank you for your help," Lily told the small creature, who preened slightly at the acknowledgement. Guardian nudged Lily's pack, where she'd stored her sketched map. "Right," she agreed, pulling out her grandfather's journal to consult her drawing. "The serpent Guardian should be next, but maybe we should take a break first." Guardian's decisive headshake surprised her. "No breaks? Is something wrong?" The dog's intent gaze toward the passage they'd fled from communicated urgency. Whatever, or whoever, had made those earlier sounds might be following their progress through the temple. "Someone else is after these, aren't they?" Lily asked, clutching the orb tighter. Guardian's solemn expression was answer enough. Their quest had become a race, though against whom remained to be seen. The monkey suddenly tensed, staring toward one of the corridors. Without warning, it leaped to Lily's shoulder, then to a high ledge near the ceiling, vanishing into a small crevice. "I think that's our cue," Lily whispered, securing the orb in her pack. "Lead on, Guardian. Let's find that serpent before someone else does." The sun hung low in the sky by the time Lily emerged from the jungle, her clothes mud-stained and her backpack considerably heavier with the addition of the stone orb. She had promised Guardian she would return the following morning, leaving the dog standing sentinel at the temple entrance, watchful eyes following her, until she disappeared into the dense foliage. As she approached the village outskirts, Lily quickly realized her appearance would raise questions. Her once clean clothes now bore evidence of crawling through ancient passages, climbing over fallen debris, and narrowly escaping a partial temple collapse. "Lily Marie Westbrook," her mother's voice carried across the village square before Lily had properly entered it. "Where on earth have you been?" Mrs. Westbrook hurried toward her daughter, relief and frustration battling across her features. "You've been gone since dawn. I've been worried sick." "Sorry, Mum," Lily offered, instinctively adjusting her backpack to better conceal its precious cargo. "I was exploring and lost track of time." Her mother's eyes narrowed as she took in Lily's disheveled state. "Exploring what, exactly? You look like you've been dragged through every mud pit between here and the mountain." "Just the usual places," Lily lied, hating the dishonesty but knowing the truth would only lead to restrictions that would prevent her return to Guardian. "Well, you're filthy and dinner's getting cold. Your father's been home for hours already." As they walked toward their cottage, Lily felt the weight of curious stares from villagers. Mrs. Halverston whispered something to Mr. Davis as they passed, both adults watching her with poorly disguised interest. "Everyone's been asking where you've disappeared to these past days," her mother explained, noticing Lily's discomfort. "Mrs. Keller saw you heading into the North Jungle yesterday, the forbidden area." Lily's heart sank. The forbidden area was exactly where the temple stood, avoided by villagers due to old superstitions about guardian spirits and the disappearances 50 years prior. "I wasn't that far in," she protested weakly. Her father waited on their porch, his boat-builder's hands stained with varnish, his expression a mixture of concern and resignation when he spotted Lily's condition. "Found another adventure, I see," he said simply. Dinner passed with uncomfortable questions that Lily deflected as best she could. Where exactly had she been? Why was she so interested in the North Jungle suddenly? Had she been talking to strangers about her grandfather's old expeditions? "I'm just curious about the stories Grandpa used to tell," she explained, between mouthfuls of fish stew. "I want to understand what made him so passionate about exploration." Her parents exchanged glances that spoke volumes: concern, uncertainty, and something like resignation. "Your grandfather's passion for discovery brought him great joy," her father finally said, "but it also led him down dangerous paths. Not all mysteries are meant to be solved, Lily." Later, as Lily prepared for bed, she noticed something troubling. Her room had been disturbed. The corner of the rug was folded back, her desk drawer slightly ajar, her collection of special stones rearranged. Most concerning of all, her grandfather's journal wasn't where she'd left it, though it had been returned to approximately the right spot. Someone had been looking through her things. A soft knock at her door preceded her mother's entrance. "Getting ready for bed, dear?" "Mom," Lily asked carefully, "did you clean my room today?" "No, I haven't had time for that." Her mother glanced around. "Why do you ask?" "No reason," Lily replied, deciding not to share her suspicions. "Good night, Mom." After her mother left, Lily quietly retrieved her backpack and removed the stone orb, wrapping it in a spare shirt and hiding it beneath a loose floorboard, under her bed, a secret space she'd discovered years ago. The monkey guardian's key would be safe there until morning. She was just replacing the floorboard when a shadow passed by her window. Freezing in place, Lily held her breath, listening intently. Footsteps, light but distinct, circled the side of the house before fading toward the village. Carefully peering out, she caught a glimpse of a tall figure disappearing around the corner. Though she couldn't make out details in the darkness, something about the purposeful stride seemed vaguely familiar. Sleep came fitfully that night, her dreams filled with collapsing temples, mysterious pursuers, and guardians standing alone at the temple entrance, waiting faithfully for her return. Morning brought a new complication. As Lily packed supplies for her return to the temple, she noticed Mr. Finch watching her cottage from his shop doorway. When she emerged, he made a show of sweeping his storefront, though his eyes never left her movements. In the village square, Mrs. Halverston and two other women paused their conversation to observe her passing. The normally friendly fishermen loading their boats by the dock fell silent as she walked past. The entire village was watching her, their collective gaze heavy with suspicion and unasked questions. Lily realized with growing unease that returning to the temple unnoticed would be far more difficult than she had anticipated. Someone in Porto Azul suspected what she had found, and they were making sure she was being carefully monitored. Evading village scrutiny required strategy worthy of her pirate games. Before dawn, Lily left a stuffed decoy in her bed and slipped out her window, circling behind cottages until she reached the jungle's edge. The stone orb, wrapped carefully and nestled among dried fruits and jerky, weighed heavily in her backpack. The jungle seemed different today. Branches reached like grasping fingers, shadows deeper than before. Her mind conjured imaginary pursuers behind every tree, the village's suspicious glances following her, even here. "Stop it," she scolded herself. "You're being ridiculous." When the temple finally emerged from the greenery, relief washed over her. Guardian bounded down the steps to meet her, pressing against her legs with obvious joy. "I was worried someone might try to stop me from coming back," she told the dog, kneeling to eye level. "Did anything happen while I was gone?" Guardian's serious expression and purposeful tug toward the temple entrance answered her question. Something had changed. Inside, evidence of intrusion was immediate. Fresh footprints in the dust, disturbed debris arranged differently than she remembered. Someone had entered the temple after her departure yesterday. "We need to hurry," she whispered, retrieving the orb from her pack. Guardian led her swiftly through now familiar passages toward the water basin chamber. The basin remained dry, but new marks around its rim suggested someone had activated it recently. "They're following our path," Lily realized. "They know about the Guardians." With renewed urgency, they continued toward the corridor marked with the serpent symbol. Unlike the monkey's passage, this one descended sharply, air growing noticeably cooler with each step. The walls glistened with moisture, serpentine patterns carved into the stone seeming to writhe in the lantern light. The passage opened into a chamber where a shallow pool dominated the center. Stone serpents emerged from the water, their bodies forming a spiral pattern leading to a raised platform in the center where a larger serpent statue coiled. Guardian stopped at the pool's edge, unwilling to proceed further. "You can't go in," Lily asked, receiving a headshake in response. "Is it dangerous?" The dog's expression suggested not danger, but restriction, as though some ancient rule prevented Guardian from approaching the serpent's domain. "I'll go alone then," Lily decided, removing her shoes and socks. The water barely reached her ankles as she waded toward the central platform. Halfway across, moonlight suddenly streamed into the chamber through a previously unnoticed opening in the ceiling, illuminating the serpent statue with silvery light. As moonbeams touched the jade serpent, its eyes glowed emerald green. To Lily's astonishment, the statue's mouth opened, and a voice, ancient and sibilant, filled the chamber. "Seeker of wisdom, answer my riddle if you wish to proceed. I am most valuable when given away, yet most dangerous when taken. Kings desire me but cannot buy me, while the poorest may possess me in abundance." "What am I?" Lily froze mid-step, the riddle echoing around her. "You can speak," answer serpent insisted, its voice neither male nor female, young nor old. "A riddle about value," Lily mused aloud, thinking carefully. "Something valuable when given away." Guardian watched attentively from the shore, unable to help with this challenge. Lily's mind raced through possibilities. "Knowledge? No, that's not dangerous when taken. Money? No, kings can buy that." The moonlight began to shift, the beam slowly moving across the statue, the lights changing. Lily realized, "I think I have limited time." She thought of her grandfather's words from long ago. "The greatest treasures are never just gold and jewels, lily pad." "Trust," she ventured uncertainly. "No, that's not quite it." The moonbeam had nearly passed the serpent statue completely. "Loyalty?" She tried again. "No. Wait." The answer titillized suddenly, something her grandfather had valued above all else. "Trust," she called confidently. "It's trust, valuable when given, dangerous when taken from someone. Kings can't buy genuine trust, but even the poorest person might be trusted completely." The serpent statue's eyes flashed brighter, its voice returning. "Wisdom flows through you, young one. Approach and receive what you seek." The remaining water drained from the pool through previously hidden channels, leaving a dry path to the platform. As Lily reached the serpent statue, its coiled body shifted, revealing a compartment containing a jade carving of a serpent, similar in size and shape to the monkey orb. "The second guardian key," she whispered, carefully lifting the artifact. Unlike the monkey chamber's violent reaction, the serpent room remained stable as she retrieved the key. However, as she turned to leave, she noticed something troubling: fresh footprints in the now dry pathway, partially erased by the receding water, but still visible. "Someone was here very recently," she told Guardian as she returned to shore. They might have tried to solve the riddle and failed. Guardian's anxious whine confirmed her suspicions. "We should hurry to the bird, Guardian," Lily suggested, securing the jade serpent alongside the stone monkey in her pack. As they exited the serpent chamber, a distant echo reached them, the unmistakable sound of a human voice calling out in frustration, followed by the clatter of equipment. "They're still in the temple," Lily whispered, heart racing, "and they sound angry." Guardian growled softly, leading Lily toward a different passage than the one they'd entered through, a hidden shortcut that bypassed the main corridors. They moved swiftly through narrow channels barely wide enough for Lily's shoulders, emerging eventually into a small chamber with multiple exits. The dog hesitated, ears perked toward different passages, seemingly assessing dangers. "Which way?" Lily asked, keeping her voice low. Guardian finally selected a path, but not toward the bird symbol as Lily expected. Instead, they headed deeper into the temple, away from both the bird guardian and the mysterious intruder. "Where are we going?" Lily whispered. The answer came as they entered a chamber she hadn't seen before, a sanctuary hidden between the major pathways, its walls covered with paintings depicting the temple's history. Here, Guardian seemed to relax slightly, as though they had reached a safe haven, a place to catch our breath and plan our next move. Lily realized, sinking gratefully onto a stone bench. Good thinking. From her pack, she removed both Guardian keys, placing them side by side. 2 down, 1 to go. But who else knows about these? And how did they find the temple? Guardian had no answers, but as the dog settled watchfully by the sanctuary entrance, Lily couldn't help feeling they were no longer simply exploring an ancient mystery. They were now competing in a dangerous race. Rest in the sanctuary was brief. Guardian's sudden alertness, ears pricked, body tensing, signaled approaching danger. Lily hastily repacked the Guardian keys, extinguishing her lantern, as footsteps echoed from a nearby passage. "Hide," she whispered, ducking behind a partially collapsed column. The footsteps grew louder, deliberate, unhurried, confident. A beam of light swept the chamber entrance as a tall figure appeared, silhouetted against the corridor. "Fascinating," a deep voice remarked. "Paintings depicting the temple's original purpose. This alone would revolutionize our understanding of pre-colonial civilizations." The stranger entered fully, a man in his 60s with silver hair tied back in a neat ponytail, wearing practical expedition clothing that had seen considerable use. He carried modern equipment, a high-powered flashlight, professional camera, and what appeared to be sophisticated surveying tools. Guardian growled low, the sound barely audible, but enough to make the man freeze. "Who's there?" he demanded, swinging his flashlight toward the sound. The beam caught Guardian, whose eyes reflected the light unnervingly. Rather than showing fear, the man's expression transformed to one of wonder. "Extraordinary," he breathed. "A temple guardian." The legends were true. Guardian's growl deepened, hackles rising. The dog positioned itself between the stranger and Lily's hiding place. "Easy now," the man soothed, lowering his light slightly. "I've spent decades searching for this place. I mean no harm." From her concealment, Lily could see the man studying Guardian with scholarly intensity. Something about his profile struck her as vaguely familiar. "I know you're protecting something," he continued, addressing Guardian. "Or someone. You might as well come out." Lily remained still, heart pounding. Guardian maintained the standoff, neither advancing nor retreating. The man sighed. "Very well." He reached into his pocket, producing something that made Lily gasp involuntarily, a medallion nearly identical to Guardian's. At her sound, the flashlight beam swung toward her, hiding place. "As I suspected, please join us. If the Guardian has accepted you, we should talk." Realizing concealment was futile, Lily emerged slowly. "Who are you?" The man lowered his flashlight, revealing a weathered face with intelligent eyes. "Professor Walter Reed, though I haven't held a formal academic position in some time." Lily's jaw dropped. Professor Reed, but you disappeared 50 years ago. Everyone thought you were dead. A wry smile crossed his face. Reports of my demise were premature. And you are? Lily Westbrook. Recognitions flashed in his eyes. Westbrook? Any relation to James Westbrook? He was my grandfather. Reed's expression softened momentarily. James, how is the old fox? He passed away 3 months ago. Something like genuine grief crossed Reed's features. I'm sorry to hear that. Despite our differences, your grandfather was a brilliant man. Guardian remained tense, eyes fixed on Reed's medallion. You have one too, Lily noted, pointing to the artifact. Just like Guardians. Guardian, is that what you call it? Reed glanced at the dog. Appropriate. And yes, I found this medallion decades ago. It led me back here. Back? Lily questioned. You've been here before? Reed nodded. With your grandfather, originally. Our expedition 50 years ago discovered this temple, but we were separated during a cave-in. They all presumed me dead, buried under tons of stone. But you survived. Barely. I was rescued by creatures like your guardian here. Temple protectors who led me to safety through passages unknown to outsiders. But they took my research and equipment, leaving me with only this medallion. It's taken me 50 years to find my way back. Lily processed this information, recalling Riz Weatherby's words about Reed's obsession with the temple treasure. What are you looking for now? Reed's eyes narrowed slightly. The same thing you are, I imagine. The temple's greatest secret. He studied her backpack pointedly. How many Guardian keys have you found so far? Guardian growled again, sensing Lily's discomfort. I don't know what you're talking about, she lied poorly. Reed smiled without warmth. Child, I've dedicated my life to this quest. I know exactly how the temple operates. The water basin map, the 3 guardians, the keys they protect. Your grandfather and I deciphered the basics together. He held up his medallion, but neither of us could make this work properly. That's why I'm intrigued by your guardian. It seems to have accepted you, which means you might succeed where we failed. Failed at what? Lily asked cautiously, finding the temple's true treasure, of course. Not gold or jewels, as most assume. Then what? Reed's expression became calculating. Knowledge. Seeds. A gift from the ancient temple builders that could change the world. He extended his hand. Work with me, Lily Westbrook. Together we can finish what your grandfather and I started. Guardian's warning growl made Reed withdraw his hand. Your companion disagrees, he observed dryly. Guardian knows who to trust, Lily responded, gaining confidence. Reed's friendly demeanor cooled noticeably. I see James filled your head with his romantic notions about exploration and discovery. Did he mention abandoning me in this temple, claiming my research as his own after my death? My grandfather would never do that, Lily protested. We all have illusions about those we love, Reed replied dismissively. The truth is often less flattering. He reached into his pocket again, this time producing a folded paper. Perhaps this will convince you of my legitimacy. As he extended the paper, Guardian lunged forward, snatching it from his grasp and retreating to Lily's side. The dog dropped it at her feet, a torn map fragment showing the temple location, with her grandfather's distinctive handwriting in the margins. That belongs to me, Reed said coldly. It's my grandfather's writing, Lily observed, recognizing the notes. Copied from my original research, Reed countered. But enough history lessons. I'll make this simple. Help me find the final Guardian key, or I'll ensure neither of us succeeds. The threat hung in the air between them. Guardian pressed against Lily's leg, ready to move at her signal. I need to think about it, she stalled. Reed checked his watch. You have until sunrise tomorrow. I'll be establishing camp near the main entrance. His gaze hardened. Don't try to find the bird guardian without me. These temples have survived centuries, Sinri, eliminating the unworthy. With a final measuring look, Reed turned and departed, his footsteps echoing into silence. I don't trust him, Lily whispered to Guardian once they were alone. And I don't believe what he said about Guardian's solemn eyes met hers, conveying silent agreement. "We need to find the bird guardian before he does," Lily decided. "Can you show me another way?" The dog's tail wagged once, yes, before leading her toward a hidden passage concealed behind the sanctuary's painted walls. The hidden passage behind the sanctuary wall led through a labyrinth of narrow corridors, seemingly designed for creatures guardian size rather than humans. Lily crawled on hands and knees through sections where the ceiling dipped treacherously low, guided by Guardian's confident movements ahead. "Where are we going?" she whispered. Though she doubted Reed could hear them through the thick stone walls, Guardian offered no explanation but continued with purposeful determination. After what felt like an hour of uncomfortable travel, the passage widened into a small chamber unlike any they'd encountered. Here, the temple's distinctive architecture gave way to something more organic, almost like entering a cave within the constructed space. Phosphorescent fungi provided gentle illumination, revealing walls covered not with formal carvings but with handprints, hundreds of them, in various sizes. Some were clearly human, others belonged to animals, paw prints of various shapes and sizes, pressed into what had once been soft clay, now preserved for centuries. "What is this place?" Lily breathed, touching one small handprint roughly her size. Guardian approached a specific section of wall where a collection of paw prints clustered around a central human hand. With gentle movements, the dog placed its own paw against one of the ancient prints, a perfect match. "Your ancestors," Lily realized. This records the temple guardians throughout history. The dog's tail wagged once in confirmation. In the chamber's center stood a simple stone pedestal supporting what appeared to be a worn cushion. Guardian approached it, looking expectantly at Lily. "Is something supposed to be there?" The dog lowered its head, nosing at the empty cushion with obvious meaning. "Something's missing," Lily interpreted. "Something important that should rest here." Guardian moved to a far corner, partially concealed by shadow. Nosing aside accumulated debris, the dog revealed a small alcove in the wall. Inside lay an ornate collar, far more elaborate than the simple one Guardian currently wore, with intricate metalwork and tiny gemstones arranged in constellation patterns. "Is this yours?" Lily asked, carefully lifting the ancient collar. It felt surprisingly warm to the touch, as though recently worn. Guardian sat patiently as Lily gently removed the current collar with its medallion and replaced it with the ornate one. The transformation was immediate. Guardian's entire bearing changed, becoming more regal, more purposeful. The gemstones glowed softly within a light, illuminating symbols etched into the metalwork. "You're not just any guardian," Lily whispered, understanding dawning. "You're the guardian, the one chosen to protect the temple's greatest treasure." The dog's solemn gaze confirmed her realization. Along one wall, previously unnoticed in the dim light, Lily discovered a series of paintings different from those in the main chambers. These depicted the temple's history in narrative form, the story of its creation and purpose. The images showed people and animals working together to build the temple around what appeared to be a garden. In the garden's center grew a magnificent tree bearing unusual fruit. Subsequent panels showed the tree's gradual decline, people carefully collecting and preserving its last seeds, and the temple being constructed to protect them. The final panel depicted 3 animal guardians, monkey, serpent, and bird, surrounding a central figure, a dog wearing the ornate collar Guardian now bore. The temple wasn't built to house treasure. Lily realized it was built to protect something living, seeds from an ancient tree that was dying out. Guardian approached a section of wall where ancient text accompanied small pictographs. Though Lily couldn't read the language, the images told a clear story. The tree possessed remarkable properties, its fruit capable of healing illness and purifying water. This was what Reed meant, knowledge and seeds that could change the world. The implication staggered her. If such a tree could be regrown, its properties could potentially address countless modern problems: disease, water contamination, perhaps even environmental degradation. "Is that why you accepted me?" Lily asked Guardian, to help find these seeds. The dog's intelligent eyes held her gaze steadily. Something in that look conveyed not just confirmation, but something deeper, a sense that Lily had been chosen specifically, perhaps even expected. Grandpa knew about this, didn't he? That's why he spent his life searching. Guardian moved to the chamber's far side, where a small basin stood. Unlike the larger map basin they'd encountered earlier, this one was already filled with clear water. When Guardian touched the surface with a paw, the water shimmered, forming an image, an elderly man with familiar features kneeling before a younger Guardian, placing something in the dog's care. "Grandpa," Lily gasped, recognizing her grandfather despite his younger appearance. "He found the temple before. He met you." The image faded, leaving ripples across the water's surface. "But he never told anyone," Lily continued, piecing together the mystery. "Not even in his journal. He kept your secret." Guardian nudged Lily's hand gently, as if in gratitude. "And now you've chosen me to continue what he started." The weight of this responsibility settled on her young shoulders. This wasn't just about adventure or discovery anymore. This was a sacred trust, passed from her grandfather to her. "I won't let you down," she promised solemnly, "but we need to hurry. Reed is after the seeds too, and I don't think his intentions are as pure as Grandpa's were." Guardian's collar glowed brighter in response, the dog's posture straightening with renewed purpose. Whatever secrets remained within the temple, it was clear they were now racing against time and a determined adversary to uncover them. Guardian led Lily through passages that eventually circled back toward the temple entrance. Night had fallen, casting the jungle in silver moonlight that filtered through the crumbling ceiling. "I need to return to the village for more supplies," Lily explained, checking her nearly empty water flask. "And to make sure my parents aren't organizing a search party." Guardian's expression conveyed understanding but also concern. "I'll be careful," she promised. "Reed won't suspect I'm coming back tonight, and I'll return before dawn." The dog nudged her gently, pressing something into her hand. A small seed from the sanctuary, no larger than her thumbnail, but vibrant with latent life. "Is this?" Lily began, examining the seed with wonder. Guardian nudged her again, as if to say, "Show this to the right person. I'll guard it with my life," she vowed, securing it in the inner pocket of her jacket. The journey back to Porto Azul through moonlit jungle felt different, more purposeful. Lily was no longer just an explorer, she was continuing her grandfather's mission, carrying a responsibility that stretched back centuries. The village slumbered peacefully except for a single light burning in a cottage at its edge. The home of Elder Mateo, the oldest resident of Porto Azul and keeper of its oral histories. As Lily passed, the door opened unexpectedly. "Young Westbrook," called a weathered voice. "A moment of your time." Lily froze, considering whether to flee or approach. Elder Mateo had known her grandfather well. If anyone might offer insight without raising alarms, it would be him. "Elder Mateo," she acknowledged, approaching cautiously. "You're up late." The ancient man stood in his doorway, back bent with age but eyes sharp as ever. "As are you, child." Walking the north jungle path under moonlight, his gaze dropped to Guardian's ornate collar, which Lily had carefully tucked into her jacket. A corner remained visible, catching the light. "Come inside," he said, voice lowered. "What you carry should not be seen by curious eyes." Heart pounding, Lily followed him into the modest cottage filled with books, maps and artifacts collected over a long lifetime. Elder Mateo gestured to a chair, then secured the door and windows before speaking again. "You found it," he stated simply. "The Temple of the Four Winds. How did you know?" Lily whispered. "That collar," he nodded toward her jacket. "I've seen it once before when your grandfather showed it to me decades ago. You knew about his discovery?" The elder smiled faintly. "James and I shared many secrets. He trusted few with what he found in the North Jungle." From a locked chest, Elder Mateo retrieved a worn leather case. Inside rested an ancient scroll protected by a clear preservation covering. Your grandfather entrusted this to me for safekeeping, he explained, handling the document with reverence. It contains the temple's origin story, written in a language few can still read. Unfolding the scroll carefully on his table, Elder Matteo revealed faded text and illustrations similar to those Lily had seen in the sanctuary. The people of the healing tree lived in harmony with nature and animals, he translated, fingers tracing the ancient script. When changing climate threatened their sacred tree, they built the temple to preserve its legacy until the world was ready for its gifts again. The seeds, Lily breathed. Elder Matteo nodded. Seeds with extraordinary properties, capable of purifying water, soil, even air. The tree absorbed toxins while producing fruit, with medicinal qualities unlike anything in modern pharmacology. That's why Reed wants them, Lily realized. They'd be worth millions, billions, the elder corrected grimly, to pharmaceutical companies, water treatment corporations, environmental remediation firms. Whoever controls these seeds controls a biological technology centuries ahead of our own. Reed said he and Grandpa discovered the temple together 50 years ago. Elder Matteo's expression darkened. They did. But while your grandfather saw something to protect, Reed saw something to exploit. Their expedition ended in tragedy, a collapse that supposedly claimed Reed's life. He survived, Lily revealed. He's back at the temple now, the elder's eyes widened. Then we have precious little time. Your grandfather believed the temple tests those who seek its treasure, presents moral choices that reveal true intentions. What kind of tests? The temple guardians, monkey, serpent, and bird, each protect a key that grants access to the central chamber. But the keys themselves are worthless without the fourth guardian's blessing. Lily pulled out the small seed. Guardian gave me this. Elder Matteo examined it with wonder. A sign of trust. The fourth guardian believes you worthy. He returned the seed carefully. Reed will have all three keys soon, but without this blessing, he cannot claim the seeds. What should I do? The elder refolded the scroll, returning it to her. Take this. It contains information even your grandfather couldn't fully decipher, the final test that awaits in the central chamber. As Lily accepted the precious document, Elder Matteo gripped her hands. Listen carefully, child. The temple does not surrender its treasure to the first who reaches it, but to the one who understands its true purpose. The seeds aren't meant to enrich a single person. They're meant to heal our world. How do I stop Reed? You may not need to. The temple itself judges those who enter its heart. The elder's eyes held decades of wisdom. But be wary. A desperate man is unpredictable, and Reed has waited 50 years for this moment. Lily carefully stowed the scroll alongside the seed. I need to get back before sunrise. Elder Matteo nodded. Go through my garden. It connects to the jungle path without crossing the village square. And Lily, he added as she reached the door, your grandfather would be proud. With renewed determination and precious knowledge, Lily slipped back into the night, the weight of the scroll and seed representing both burden and hope. Whatever awaited in the temple's heart, she was now better prepared to face it. Pre-dawn mist clung to the jungle floor as Lily raced back to the temple, Elder Matteo's scroll secure in her pack alongside fresh supplies. The eastern sky had barely begun to lighten when the temple's weathered entrance appeared through the foliage. Guardian waited exactly where they'd parted, alert and watchful. I'm back, Lily whispered, kneeling to embrace the dog. And I have something that might help us. Guardian's ears perked forward with interest as Lily briefly explained her meeting with Elder Matteo. The dog's intelligent eyes seemed to register recognition at the elder's name. He knew Grandpa and you, Lily observed. Now we need to find the bird guardian before Reed does. They entered the temple cautiously, wary of encountering their rival. Signs of Reed's presence were evident, fresh boot prints in the dust, small survey markers placed at junctions, even a dropped energy bar wrapper. He's been busy, Lily muttered, following Guardian through a series of back passages that avoided the main corridors. Their route took them deeper than they'd ventured before, the air growing noticeably cooler and damper. In places, natural caves had been incorporated into the temple architecture, crystal formations glittering in Lily's lantern light. The path narrowed dangerously at one point, forcing them along a stone ledge barely wide enough for Lily's feet. Below, darkness concealed the bottom of a seemingly bottomless chasm. Guardian moved confidently despite the precarious footing, occasionally glancing back to ensure Lily followed safely. Not exactly a tourist-friendly attraction, she joked nervously, pressing herself against the wall as loose pebbles tumbled into the void below. The narrow ledge eventually opened onto a broader platform where multiple paths converged. Here, Reed had left more than footprints. A climbing rope secured to a stone outcropping descended into a pit ahead. He's found another way down, Lily realized. Guardian tugged her toward a different passage, smaller, less obvious and untouched by Reed's exploration. The back way again? Good thinking. This alternate route descended through a series of natural steps carved into living rock. The walls gradually transformed from worked stone to natural crystal formations that amplified Lily's lantern light, filling the passage with rainbow refractions. "It's beautiful," she breathed, momentarily forgetting the urgency of their mission. The crystal passage opened suddenly into a vast cavern that took Lily's breath away. The ceiling soared beyond her lantern's reach, while the floor featured a perfectly circular pool of water, so still it mirrored the crystalline formations hanging above. At the cavern's center, a crystal island rose from the pool, connected to the shore by a narrow natural bridge. Atop this island perched a bird statue carved from a single piece of translucent crystal, its wings spread as though about to take flight. Unlike the previous Guardian statues, this one appeared untouched by time, perfect in every detail, from individual feathers to the knowing expression in its gem-like eyes. "The third Guardian," Lily whispered. Guardian stopped at the bridge's edge, once again unable to proceed further. "Another solo mission for me?" Lily asked, receiving a solemn nod in response. The crystal bridge felt solid, despite its delicate appearance. As Lily approached the bird statue, she noticed something unusual. The crystal formation seemed to vibrate subtly, producing a faint musical tone that changed with each step she took. "It's singing," she realized, listening to the harmonics that shifted as she moved around the island. The bird statue itself emitted no sound, but its outstretched wings contained small hollow chambers of varying sizes. Examining these, Lily noticed they aligned with the cavern's acoustics in a deliberate pattern. "It's an instrument," she murmured, "but how do I play it?" A noise from across the cavern startled her, the sound of rope against stone. Through a different entrance, Reed was descending into the chamber, using his climbing equipment, back turned to Lily as he navigated the final meters to the floor. Heart racing, Lily turned back to the crystal bird. She had minutes at most before Reed noticed her presence. The scroll, Elder Mateo's ancient document, might contain the answer. Quickly unrolling it, she found illustrations depicting people standing in specific positions around a bird-like figure, their hands raised in different gestures. "They're showing the positions to create different notes," she realized, studying the patterns. Following the scroll's guidance, Lily moved carefully around the crystal island, positioning herself at the points indicated in the ancient diagrams. At each position, she gently touched the bird's wings as shown, producing clear, bell-like tones that resonated throughout the cavern. The sequence created a simple melody, 5 notes that repeated 3 times, growing louder with each repetition. On the final sequence, the crystal bird's eyes began to glow with inner light, and its beak opened to reveal a small compartment containing a crystal carving shaped like a bird. "The third key," Lily whispered, reaching for it just as Reed's voice echoed across the water. "Well done, Miss Westbrook. You've saved me considerable effort." Lily spun to face him, the crystal bird key clutched in her hand. Reed stood at the opposite shore, applauding slowly with exaggerated appreciation. "That melody has eluded me for decades," he called, voice carrying clearly across the water. "The temple acoustics make it impossible to discern from observation alone." Guardian growled from the near shore, positioning himself between Reed and the crystal bridge. "Your pet seems protective," Reed observed, unperturbed. "But unnecessary. I have no intention of fighting a child for that key." "Then what do you want?" Lily demanded, securing the bird key in her pocket. Reed smiled thinly. "Cooperation. You now possess all 3 guardian keys. I have the knowledge to use them correctly." He gestured toward the passage behind him. "The central chamber awaits just beyond. We could discover the temple's ultimate secret together." "And then what?" "You take the seeds and sell them to the highest bidder." Something dangerous flashed in Reed's eyes. "Don't presume to understand my intentions, girl. I've dedicated my life to this discovery." "So did my grandfather," Lily countered, "but he wanted to protect the seeds, not exploit them." Reed's expression hardened. "Your grandfather was a naive idealist. These seeds represent a biological technology centuries ahead of our own. They belong in proper scientific facilities, not hidden away in a crumbling temple." Lily backed toward Guardian, sensing the conversation turning ominous. "I won't help you take something that doesn't belong to you." "Consider carefully," Reed warned. "The temple's final test is designed to eliminate the unworthy. Neither of us may survive it alone." With Guardian beside her, Lily faced Reed across the still waters. "I'll take my chances with the temple's judgment." The standoff across the crystal pool ended abruptly when Reed produced a small object from his pocket, a modern flare gun. "I'd prefer cooperation," he stated calmly, "but I'm not leaving empty-handed after 50 years. Lily backed away slowly, Guardian positioned protectively beside her. "You'd really threaten a child." "I'm threatening an obstacle," Reed corrected. "The flare won't kill you, but it will ensure I leave with those keys." Lily's mind raced, evaluating options. The only exit behind her led back through the crystal passage, a aid end. Reed blocked the path to the central chamber. "Guardian," she whispered, "any ideas?" The dog's eyes darted toward the pool, then back to Lily, meaningfully. "Swim for it?" she interpreted doubtfully. The water's perfect stillness seemed almost unnatural, too perfect to trust. Reed advanced onto the crystal bridge. "The keys, Miss Westbrook." Now, in one fluid motion, Guardian lunged forward, not attacking Reed, but deliberately striking the crystal bridge with sufficient force to create vibrations. The impact produced a resonant tone that amplified throughout the cavern. The effect was immediate. The still water began to ripple in rhythmic patterns, matching the sound waves. As the vibrations intensified, a previously invisible pathway of stepping stones emerged, just beneath the water's surface, extending from the crystal island to a concealed exit on the far side. "Go," Guardian's expression clearly commanded. Lily didn't hesitate. Leaping onto the first stepping stone, she found it solid, despite its transparent appearance. Behind her, Reed shouted in frustration as Guardian continued disrupting the bridge, preventing immediate pursuit. The stepping stones required precise movements, each footfall creating musical tones that sustained the path's visibility. Lily moved as quickly as she dared, water occasionally splashing over her shoes when she missed perfect alignment. Halfway across, she glanced back to see Guardian abandoning the defensive Visus, racing around the pool's perimeter toward the exit. Lily was approaching. Reed had regained his balance and was pursuing along the stones, his greater weight causing them to sink slightly with each step. "You can't escape, Lily," he called. "The central chamber has only one entrance." Reaching the far shore, Lily discovered a narrow passage carved with bird motifs. Guardian arrived seconds later, urging her forward as Reed continued his pursuit. The passage twisted through natural rock formations before opening into a breathtaking sight, an immense circular chamber dominated by a massive stone door. The door's surface featured 3 distinct impressions arranged in a triangle, each shaped to receive one of the Guardian keys. Above these impressions loomed a larger keyhole unlike any Lily had seen, wide enough to accommodate both a human hand and an animal paw simultaneously. The final door, she breathed, understanding its significance. Reed's footsteps echoed in the passage behind them. Guardian nudged Lily urgently toward the door. Working quickly, she removed the 3 Guardian keys from her pack: the stone monkey, jade serpent, and crystal bird. Each fit perfectly into its corresponding impression, locking into place with satisfying clicks. When the 3rd key engaged, the stone around the larger keyhole began to glow with familiar blue light. Guardian positioned himself beside Lily, looking meaningfully at the illuminated opening. "Together?" she asked, receiving an affirmative tail wag. Reed burst into the chamber just as Lily and Guardian placed their hand and paw into the keyhole. "Stop!" he shouted, rushing forward. Too late. The connection between human and Guardian activated something ancient and powerful within the door mechanism. The blue light intensified, spreading through intricate channels carved into the stone floor. The massive door began to rumble, stone grinding against stone as it slowly swung inward. Reed skidded to a halt, his expression transforming from anger to calculating observation. "Impressive," he conceded. The 4th Guardian's acceptance was the missing element all these years. From his pack, he produced something that made Lily gasp: a golden key nearly twice the size of her hand, its handle ornately carved with images of all 4 Guardians. "The temple key," Reed explained, noticing her surprise. "Found in a hidden chamber during my original expedition. Your grandfather never knew about it." Guardian growled deeply, placing himself between Lily and Reed. "Your pet seems concerned," Reed observed. "Perhaps it recognizes this key's significance." "What does it do?" Lily asked, buying time as the massive door continued its slow opening. Reed smiled thinly. "It unlocks the seed vault itself, the heart of the temple's treasure. Your grandfather's journal never mentioned it because he never found it." "How do you know it works?" "I don't, with absolute certainty," Reed admitted. "But 50 years of research suggests it's the final component." The great door finally stood fully open, revealing a short passage leading to another chamber bathed in soft golden light. Guardian remained focused on Reed, particularly the golden key in his hand. "We appear to be at an impasse," Reed noted calmly. "You have the Guardian's acceptance. I have the vault key. Neither of us can complete this journey alone." Lily considered her options. Elder Mateo had mentioned a final test, one that judged worthiness beyond simply reaching the central chamber. Perhaps Reed's presence was part of that test. "What exactly do you want with the seeds?" she asked directly. "What any scientist wants," Reed replied. "To study them, understand them, and yes, utilize their properties for the advancement of human knowledge. And profit," Lily added pointedly. Reed's expression hardened slightly. "Don't be naive, child. Discoveries of this magnitude require funding to develop. The seed's commercial applications would finance their scientific study." Guardian's gaze never left the golden key, his posture communicating deep distrust. "I don't believe you," Lily decided. "Guardian doesn't either." Reed sighed with exaggerated patience. "Belief is irrelevant. Facts remain." He gestured toward the open doorway. "The temple's greatest secret awaits just beyond, but neither of us can claim it alone. I propose a truce. We enter together, you with your Guardian's blessing, me with the vault key." The golden light from the inner chamber seemed to pulse invitingly. Whatever awaited inside represented the culmination of her grandfather's life's work and Reed's obsession. "And after we open the vault," Lily pressed. Reed's smile didn't reach his eyes. "We'll cross that bridge when we come to it." Guardian's quiet growl conveyed everything Lily needed to know about the trustworthiness of that statement. "I have a counter-proposal," she offered, straightening to her full height. "You give me the golden key, and Guardian and I will enter alone." Reed's laugh held no humor. "Charming, but no. We proceed together, or not at all." The temple itself seemed to wait expectantly, as human, child, and Guardian stood at the threshold of discovery. Whatever decision Lily made now would determine not just who entered the inner chamber, but who, if anyone, would emerge with its precious secrets. The golden light beckoned from the inner chamber, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Lily studied Reed's impassive face, searching for deception in his eyes. "Time is wasting," Reed prompted. "The temple has remained sealed for centuries. Would you deny the world its gifts because of childish distrust?" Guardian pressed against Lily's leg, a warm reminder of her responsibility. The scroll from Elder Mateo remained in her pack, its warnings about the temple's final test clear in her mind. "Fine," she decided. "We go together, but Guardian leads the way." Reed nodded curtly. "Acceptable." The short passage to the inner chamber narrowed as they proceeded, forcing them to walk single file, Guardian first, Lily following with Reed bringing up the rear. The golden light intensified with each step, not harsh but enveloping, like afternoon sunlight filtered through autumn leaves. The passage opened suddenly into a vast circular chamber that defied the temple's external dimensions, as though they'd entered a space that existed, partially in another realm. The ceiling soared upward, painted with constellations that slowly rotated despite being fixed in stone. The floor featured a mosaic, depicting the four guardians arranged around a central tree. But what captured Lily's breath was the chamber's contents. Mountains of treasure filled the periphery, gold coins, jeweled artifacts, precious artworks from civilizations long vanished. The wealth of empires, casually piled like discarded trinkets. "Extraordinary," Reed whispered, eyes widening at the sight. The legends of treasure were true after all. Guardian remained unimpressed by the riches, moving purposefully toward the chamber's center, where a raised dais supported a simple wooden pedestal. Atop the pedestal sat a small, unadorned wooden chest, humble amidst the surrounding opulence. "That must be the seed vault," Reed observed, his voice betraying excitement beneath forced calm. As they approached the dais, Lily noticed something curious about the treasure piles. Despite their apparent solidity, occasional pieces shifted without cause, flickering momentarily like disturbed reflections in water. "The treasure," she began uncertainly. "What about it?" Reed asked, attention fixed on the wooden chest. Before Lily could answer, they reached the dais steps. Guardian stopped, looking back at them expectantly. "This is it," Reed declared, producing the golden key. Decades of searching, finally rewarded. The wooden chest bore no obvious keyhole, its surface smooth and unadorned. Reed circled it with a puzzled expression. "Where does the key fit?" he muttered. Guardian approached the chest, touching it gently with his nose. At the contact, a small keyhole appeared on its surface, perfectly sized for Reed's golden key. "Ah," Reed exclaimed, "your Guardian continues to prove useful." As Reed stepped forward with the key, Guardian moved to Lily's side, nudging her toward a small basin she hadn't noticed before. Similar to the water basin that had revealed the temple map, this one contained a clear liquid that wasn't quite water, something more luminous, almost alive. When Lily peered into it, images formed. Her grandfather as a young man standing in this very chamber, facing the same wooden chest. In the vision he reached for the chest, then hesitated, ultimately stepping back without opening it. The scene shifted to show him and Guardian, younger but recognizable, leaving the temple together. "He was here," Lily whispered. "He found the chest but chose not to open it." Reed focused on inserting the golden key into the chest's lock, paid no attention to her discovery. "Why wouldn't he open it?" Lily wondered aloud, watching Reed turn the key with ceremonial slowness. The chest lid lifted smoothly, revealing its contents, a collection of seeds nestled in what appeared to be soil that glowed with inner light. Each seed pulsed with vitality, unlike any Lily had seen before. At last Reed breathed, reaching toward them with trembling hands. Guardian barked sharply, a warning that froze Reed mid-motion. "What?" he demanded irritably. Lily studied the scene before her, remembering Elder Mateo's words about the temple judging worthiness. The flickering treasure piles, her grandfather's decision to leave without the seeds, Guardian's warning, all pieces of a puzzle assembling in her mind. "Wait," she said firmly. "This is the test." Reed's expression darkened. Don't be ridiculous. We've passed all the tests. We're here, aren't we? Look at the treasure, Lily insisted, gesturing toward the nearest pile where gold coins continued their subtle flickering. It's not real. It's an illusion, or a test of what we value. Absurd, Reed scoffed, though doubt flickered across his features. The seeds are real enough. Yes, Lily agreed, but maybe how we approach them matters. Reed hesitated, ambition warring with caution. Explain. Lily recalled the temple's history depicted in the sanctuary paintings. The temple wasn't built to hoard the seeds, but to protect them until they could fulfill their purpose, healing the world. Precisely why I've sought them, Reed countered. Their properties could revolutionize medicine, environmental restoration, but only if approached with the right intention. Lily interrupted. The temple tests not just our ability to find the seeds, but our worthiness to use them. Guardian's approving look confirmed her instinct. Reed considered her words, his hand still hovering above the seeds. For a moment something genuine flickered in his eyes, the passion of a true scientist rather than the calculation of a treasure hunter. Then his expression hardened. Childish superstition. The seeds are biological specimens, nothing more. His fingers closed around one of the glowing seeds. Immediately the seed's light dimmed, its vibrant color fading to dull gray. As he withdrew his hand in shock, the seed crumbled to dust. No, Reed gasped, horrified. Throughout the chamber, the treasure piles began to dissolve more rapidly, coins and jewels turning to dust that swirled in unseen currents. The remaining seeds in the chest pulsed with warning light. Your intention corrupted it, Lily realized. The seeds respond to the heart of whoever touches them. Reed's expression contorted with frustration. Nonsense. It must be some chemical reaction to modern contaminants. He reached for another seed with renewed determination. Guardian growled, stepping between Reed and the chest. Move aside, Reed demanded, voice dangerous with desperation. I didn't wait 50 years to be stopped now. Lily placed her hand on Guardian's collar, feeling the ancient connection between human and animal guardian. The seeds aren't yours to take, Professor. They belong to the future, to everyone. Reed's face transformed, decades of obsession crystallizing into this moment of thwarted desire. Then they belong to me as much as anyone, he snarled, shoving Guardian aside and lunging for the chest. As his hands plunged into the glowing soil, the chamber responded with immediate judgment. The floor beneath Reed began to crack, golden light pouring through fissures that widened with alarming speed. What's happening? He cried, suddenly fearful as the solid stone became unstable beneath him. The temple has made its decision, Lily whispered, backing away as the floor continued to disintegrate around the chest. The temple's judgment manifested with terrifying swiftness. What began as cracks beneath Reed expanded into a widening chasm that threatened to swallow him, the wooden chest, and the precious seeds. The illusory treasure had completely dissolved, swirling dust, revealing hidden mechanisms beneath the chamber floor, ancient gears and counterweights groaning to life after centuries of dormancy. Help me, Reed cried, clinging to the edge of the pedestal as the floor crumbled around him. Gone was his earlier arrogance, replaced by naked fear. Lily hesitated, Guardian tensed beside her. The dog's expression communicated clear warning. The temple was collapsing. They needed to flee. Yet something in Reed's desperate plea reached beyond Lily's justified distrust. We can't just leave him, she decided. Guardian's reluctant tail wag acknowledged her choice, though disapproval remained evident in the set of the dog's ears. Professor, the key, Lily called, extending her hand toward Reed. Use the golden key to pull yourself toward me. Reed fumbled at his belt where the ornate key hung from a leather loop. With trembling fingers, he unhooked it and extended it toward Lily, creating a tenuous connection across the widening gap. The moment her fingers closed around the key's edge, a violent tremor shook the entire chamber. The ceiling began shedding stone fragments, some large enough to shatter on impact. The constellations painted above no longer rotated serenely, but spun with increasing speed, their light fluctuating wildly. With a strength born of desperation, Lily pulled while Reed scrambled for purchase, eventually dragging himself onto stable ground beside her. "The chest," he gasped, reaching back toward the seeds, even as they tilted precariously above the growing abyss. "It's too late," Lily shouted above the temple's growing roar. "We have to go now." Guardian barked sharply, already moving toward the exit passage. The message was unmistakable: follow or perish. Reed looked back once more at the wooden chest, decades of obsession visibly warring with survival instinct. Finally, self-preservation won. "Lead the way," he conceded bitterly. They fled through the passage as it began distorting behind them, stone walls bulging inward like a closing throat. The great door they'd worked so hard to open was now slowly swinging shut, threatening to seal them inside forever. "Run," Lily urged as they sprinted toward the narrowing gap. Guardian slipped through first, followed by Lily, who scraped through with inches to spare. Reed, larger and slower, barely made it as the massive stone doors slammed together with finality, shearing off a corner of his backpack. Their reprieve proved brief. The tremors continued throughout the temple complex, spreading from the central chamber outward. Ceiling blocks crashed down randomly, forcing them to dodge and weave through increasingly hazardous corridors. "This way," Reed shouted, pointing toward a passage he'd marked during his exploration. "It leads to the Surf." Guardian growled, clearly disagreeing, tugging Lily toward a different route. "We should follow Guardian," Lily insisted. "The dog knows this temple better than either of us." "That passage is already collapsing," Reed countered, pointing to dust clouds billowing from the corridor. Guardian indicated. "My way is our only chance." Another violent tremor settled the argument, as Guardian's preferred route disappeared beneath tons of fallen stone. With no alternative, they followed Reed's marked path, racing against the temple's accelerating destruction. The route ascended sharply through chambers Lily hadn't previously explored. In one, water pipes burst from walls, flooding their path with knee-deep water that slowed their progress. In another, ancient traps reactivated chaotically, dart mechanisms firing randomly, floor sections dropping away without warning. Reed's experience proved valuable, his decades of studying temple architecture helping them anticipate certain dangers. "Step only on the square tiles," he shouted as they crossed one particularly treacherous room. "The round ones are pressure plates." Guardian, usually confident, now showed signs of disorientation in these unfamiliar sections. The dog looked to Lily for guidance as often as she sought the animal. "We're partners now," Lily realized, her hand resting briefly on Guardian's head amid their flight. "Equals." Their cooperation was tested when they reached a chamber where a deep crevasse had opened, separating them from the exit visible beyond. The gap stretched 10 feet across, impossible for a human leap. "We're trapped," Reed despaired, watching stone fragments tumble into the darkness below. Guardian circled the room urgently, eventually finding a fallen column that remained partially wedged against one wall. "We could use that as a bridge," Lily exclaimed, understanding Guardian's intent. Working together, they managed to push and drag the massive stone cylinder across the floor, positioning it to span the chasm. Though not ideal, it offered their only chance. "You first," Reed told Lily, surprising her with what seemed genuine concern. "You're lightest. If it holds for you, Guardian, and I will follow." Lily tested the makeshift bridge gingerly. It shifted slightly, but held her weight. Carefully balancing with arms outstretched, she made her way across, breathing again only when solid ground received her. Guardian followed with animal grace, 4 paws offering better stability than human feet. Reed started across last, his greater weight causing the column to shift ominously. Halfway across, the stone bridge began to roll. "Jump," Lily shouted. Reed launched himself forward as the column gave way completely, his body slamming against the edge of the crevasse. His fingers clawed desperately for purchase on the smooth stone. Without hesitation, Lily and Guardian rushed forward, each grabbing what they could. Lily his wrist, Guardian his sleeve, pulling with combined strength until Reed tumbled to safety beside them. For a moment, they simply lay there, gasping for breath as the temple continued its death throes around them. "Thank you," Reed managed between ragged breaths. The words seemed to cost him more than physical effort. "We need to keep moving," Lily replied, helping him to his feet. Sunlight beckoned ahead, a shaft penetrating from the jungle above, illuminating their final obstacle, a steep, debris-strewn slope leading to what appeared to be a previously hidden exit. As they climbed toward daylight, Lily couldn't help asking, "Why did you do it? Why risk everything for seeds you couldn't even touch?" Reed's expression combined exhaustion and resignation. "I believed I was worthy," he answered simply. 50 years convinced me I alone understood their import." The temple offered its final judgment of this belief with a last violent tremor that nearly dislodged them from the slope. Only by clinging together, child, man, and guardian, did they maintain their position long enough to make the final scramble toward fresh air and the welcoming embrace of the jungle beyond. Sunlight felt miraculous on Lily's face as they emerged from the collapsing temple into the vibrant jungle. Behind them, a final thunderous rumble shook the ground as ancient stones settled into new positions, forever sealing the passages they'd traversed. The Temple of the Four Winds had rearranged itself, its secrets once again hidden from the world. Guardian shook dust from fur that now appeared ordinary in daylight. The magical qualities of the ornate collar somehow diminished outside the temple's influence, though still beautiful. Reed sat heavily on a fallen log, the golden key still clutched in his hand, the only evidence of their underground ordeal besides their dirt-covered clothes and exhausted expressions. "Everything lost," he murmured, staring at the key that now opened nothing. 50 years of searching ended with empty hands. Lily felt a momentary pang of sympathy for the old explorer. "Not completely empty," she said, nodding toward the key. "You have proof you were right. The temple existed. Cold comfort," Reed replied bitterly. "The seeds were within my grasp, the biological miracle of the century, and now they're buried forever." Guardian approached Lily, nosing gently at her jacket pocket where she'd almost forgotten the small seed gifted to her before their village visit. With careful movements, she withdrew it, marveling that it still pulsed with gentle light even outside the temple. "Maybe not forever," she said, showing Reed. "Guardian gave me this before everything happened." Reed's eyes widened, hand instinctively reaching toward it before stopping himself. "May I see it?" "Not touch, just observe." Lily held it where he could examine the seed closely. Unlike the others that had responded negatively to Reed's touch, this one maintained its gentle glow. "Remarkable," he whispered. "It's still viable, still active." His scientific curiosity temporarily overcame his disappointment. "What will you do with it?" The question hung between them, a test perhaps more significant than any the temple had presented. Lily considered the seed's potential value, the power it represented, the fortune it might command. "Take it home," she answered simply. "Plant it, let it grow." Reed's eyebrows rose. "Just plant it, like any ordinary seed?" Lily nodded. "That's what seeds are for, isn't it? Not to be locked away or studied forever, but to grow into what they're meant to become." Guardian's tail wagged approval. They made their way back toward Porto Azul together, an unlikely trio traversing the jungle in comfortable silence. As the village came into view, Reed paused. "I won't be welcomed there," he stated matter-of-factly. "Not after all this time." Lily considered this. "What will you do now?" Reed studied the golden key, turning it thoughtfully in his hands. "Continue my work, I suppose. There are other mysteries, other lost places." He offered the key to Lily. "This belongs with you and your guardian now. Perhaps it will open different doors in the future." The gesture surprised her. "Are you sure?" "The temple made its judgment," Reed replied with unexpected humility. "I failed its test. Perhaps you'll use it more wisely. After Reed departed toward the coastal road, Lily and Guardian entered the village square where an unexpected gathering awaited her parents. Elder Mateo and several villagers clustered in concerned conversation. Lily, her mother cried upon spotting her, rushing forward with open arms. "Where have you been? We've been searching since dawn." The story spilled out, edited for parental sensibilities, but essentially truthful. The temple, Guardian, the seeds meant to heal the world. Throughout her telling, Elder Mateo nodded occasionally, silent confirmation of details only he among the villagers could verify. "And this," she concluded, carefully revealing the seed, "is what remains of the temple's treasure." The gathered villagers leaned forward, expressions ranging from skepticism to wonder, as the seed pulsed with gentle light in Lily's palm. "What will you do with it?" her father asked, echoing Reed's earlier question. "Plant it," Lily repeated confidently, "where everyone can benefit from it." Elder Mateo stepped forward. The village center would be fitting, a place where all can witness its growth and share in its gifts. The planting became an impromptu ceremony. A space was cleared in the village square, rich soil prepared with reverent care. Guardian stood beside Lily as she gently placed the seed in its new home, covering it with earth, warmed by the afternoon sun. "Will it really grow?" asked a skeptical Mr. Finch, who had watched the proceedings with arms firmly crossed. As if in answer, the soil above the planted seed began to glow faintly, pulsing with the same gentle rhythm as the seed itself had. "I believe it will," Lily replied, smiling at Guardian. In the days that followed, the village of Porto Azul witnessed a miracle, a tiny sapling emerging overnight, growing inches daily, its leaves shimmering with subtle luminescence. Within a week, it stood waist-high, producing delicate blossoms that released a scent like nothing anyone had experienced. Refreshing, invigorating, subtly healing, scientists eventually came, then journalists, then visitors from around the world to witness the miracle tree of Porto Azul. Samples confirmed extraordinary properties, water purification, soil restoration, medicinal applications that defied conventional explanation. Through it all, Lily remained its caretaker alongside Guardian, who had chosen to stay with her rather than return to the temple ruins. The dog's ornate collar became a village treasure, displayed on special occasions but otherwise kept safe in Elder Mateo's care. The real treasure wasn't gold or even the seeds themselves, Lily explained to a documentary crew 1 year after their adventure. It was what they represented: hope, renewal, connection between people and the natural world. Guardian, resting beside her beneath the now impressive boughs of the growing tree, thumped his tail in agreement. On quiet evenings, Lily would sometimes visit her grandfather's grave on the village outskirts, bringing fresh blossoms from the healing tree to place upon the stone. "You found it after all, Grandpa," she would whisper, "not just the temple, but its purpose. I hope we've done it justice." And as sunset painted the western sky in brilliant hues, Lily and Guardian would often sit together on the beach, watching waves while planning their next adventure. For Porto Azul might be home, but the horizon still called with promises of undiscovered wonders waiting beyond.